Hey guys, what's going on? Druzy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video and another quarterly, or the first time we've done a quarterly meta here on the channel for 2021, as I'm no longer going to be doing monthly metas. I'm going to do it every quarter, so 4 times a year. I know I'm a day late from recording this video, but it is what it is. I had things come up. I do apologize for that, but we are going to break down again, like we do in every one of these style of videos. We'll go through each of the themes in order. I think the best theme is in the game as of right now. So again, we'll start with adventure, work our way going forward with all the themes. So again, we'll start with adventure and take it from there. So looking at adventure, a couple of changes here from the previous version that I did of this. I believe, move Pirate Ship Timmy down from A to B. I think that Pirate Ship Timmy isn't quite as strong as I originally thought with the buffs that he's received. Now, it's been a little while since he's received the buffs that he's received, but he has not really excelled to the level that I thought he would, potentially, with all the changes that he got. He's still good. He situationally has where his charge can be very effective, but it's just, again, it's situational, so it's not quite to where I think it or thought it would have been. Aerostorm has been performing very well for a lot of different reasons. It's working really well in the meta in a variety of situations. It's good in chaos mode, it's good in team wars, and I've been seeing it more on ladder with adventure users. There hasn't been any tweak done to Aerostorm, but I think Aerostorm deservingly deserves to be where it is because it does hit the entire field versus Fireball is a certain aura radius. So I think that is an undervalued bonus that it does have. Even though the damage isn't as overwhelming as something like Fireball, but it is 1 energy less cost than Fireball is. G tier has not been changed to me. All those cards still are exactly where they need to be. A is the only one that I'm considering potentially moving back up is potentially Medicine Woman Sharon. I think Medicine Woman Sharon, even with the nerf she received with the heal to New Kid, I think that she still provides a ton of value for her position. A lot of people would argue that Psalm should be in G tier over A. In lower arenas, yes, but Psalm is still very easily dealt with, and a lot of people in higher level ladder run Mystical a lot, and because of that, they're running Power Bind, which pretty much makes Psalm useless to a certain degree. So to me, Psalm is deservingly where it needs to be at A. Again, these tiers generally focus on high tier legendary ladder more so than all the phases of ladder as far as bronze and silver and things like that. So that's why when you look at these lists, don't focus on them based on your arena. They're more or less to focus on what the top legendary players, or in my opinion, what I think are cards that are the best suited for legendary arena. So there we go with that. I don't think there's any other changes again to this list here for adventure. So let's go ahead and switch it over to sci-fi. Guys, looking at sci-fi, obviously a new card has been added to this theme, and that is, of course, Commander Hat. As of right now, Commander Hat to me is in B tier, and the main reason for that is because Commander Hat doesn't work as it originally intended. His ability allows all of his allied units to go through the death animation of that card. Until that is fixed, where it does not go through the entire death animation, he's a B tier card. When that's fixed, he could potentially be, honestly, a G or an A tier card. He's definitely going to be an A. He could potentially be a G. I really think Commander Hat is a very solid card, is basically the cancel card of this theme. I mean, they don't have that specifically, but he's the closest thing to it. And I think he would really make superheroes significantly better to pair with sci-fi, which is already becoming a more potent theme for a variety of reasons. I have moved Sizzler Stewart from A to G. I think it's long overdue, and I'm sure that a lot of people in Legendary Arena will agree that Sizzler Stewart is everywhere. He is very strong in this meta. He's best used if used second to another person running sci-fi, because almost everyone that runs sci-fi, myself included, in higher tier ladder of above 7,500 to 8,000 elo, pretty much all of us run Sizzler Stewart, especially if we have him to level 4. At level 3, he's still viable, but not as good as he is at level 4. That's the problem with Sizzler Stewart, is his level really does matter with all legendaries pretty much. There are a couple exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, legendaries need to be at least level 3 or higher to truly be viable in Legendary Arena. In Silver and Bronze, that's not necessarily fully the case, but it is the case if you're in Legendary Arena. So to many people may have him to 3 by now. He's been out in the game, I assume, long enough for that to be obtainable for a lot of people. And there has been multiple events where he's been used in it and stuff like that. But Sizzler Stewart is very good and, in my opinion, deserving of G tier. I moved Osmo down from G to A. I just don't think Asimo is as good as he once was. His freeze is still really strong, and his health is pretty decent. There's been no adjustments to Asimo to really nerf him or anything like that, so I think he's just taken a little bit of a step back. Gizmo Ike I've moved up, and I think that Gizmo Ike will flirt with G tier. He's about to get a buff that's going to be coming place this next week that really could put this guy on the map. I really think paired with Space Pilot Bradley in the same theme, he could be insanely scary, could Gizmo Ike be, with the changes that are coming. But again, I have tend to blow things out of proportion before, so we'll have to wait and see when it actually goes live and see how good Gizmo's going to be. Because Gizmo's still pretty easy to deal with. You can still use a lot of different AoE kind of wipes to kind of get rid of them. You know, Aerostorm to be one, Fireball, Satan, Ink and Craig, Psalm, the list goes on and on. There are a lot of ways to deal with him. But I think paired with, again, Space Pilot Bradley, who is still an insanely strong card, it just could be a potential devastating combo for sure. I have, I believe, moved Program Stand from A down to B. I just don't think Program Stand is really doing that well right now. One of, if not the weakest stands right now, in my opinion. Again, there's been no change to make him that much worse. I think the big thing that he potentially needs is a change to his charge ability. Give his charge to do more damage or to stun longer or both. I think put Program Stand in a good position. He already has good attack speed. Health isn't bad, but overall he's not worth the value right now that he presents. And in all honesty, not a lot of people run him in their sci-fi decks right now, at least not in Legendary Arena. So I just don't think he's really as strong as he potentially was. So now that we've looked at Sci-Fi, let's move it over to Mystical. Alright guys, so looking at Mystical, a few changes that I have made to the tier list here. Of course, I've moved Powerbind up from A to G. I think Powerbind is insanely good right now. I think a lot of the main reasons for that is widely by Mystical users for obvious reasons. It's really good at dealing with the plethora of charged base characters in this game. And it's something you can easily cycle back to relatively quickly, so I think that Powerbind definitely deserves to be a G tier card. It is only 2 energy cost, so it's low cost. It has a pretty decent aura right now, so it's still a really good card within this meta right now. Jesus I've moved up from B to A. I think Jesus is actually, after the 75 buffs that he's received now, I think that Jesus is actually in a pretty good spot. And really helps a lot of some of the newer cards that have been added to the game. I think he does help something like Goth Kids. He helps a lot with Woodland Critters if you want to run a Woodland Critters style deck. I don't have Jesus to 5 yet. I'm very close. He's been the card I've been requesting on Saturdays, or Sundays I mean, for the Epic cards. So hopefully I'm able to get him to 5 soon and try him out really at his true potential, which is level 5 for Epic cards. So I'm really excited about hopefully being able to do that soon, because I think I'm only like 8 or 9 copies away. So it might be a little bit between now and then, unless I get lucky in a pack or two to get some Jesus copies. I have moved Hallelujah up, I believe, from C to B from the previous version of this. I think Hallelujah's in a better spot than it once was. I still feel like those healings between Regen and Hallelujah in Legendary Arena aren't ultimately necessary, because there's so many revival characters now that you just don't need that. That healing isn't as potent as it once was, because Pope Timmy, Dar, and even Call Girl, if you're playing superheroes, can just bring a unit back to full health, whatever they bring back or whatever they bring into the arena. It doesn't make healing as necessary. It still has validity. It's still there for a reason, and this theme obviously has plethora of potential with healing. So there's a lot of different options when it comes to that. So I mean, it's not to say that healing isn't unnecessary in this theme. It is definitely a strength of this theme, but I just don't feel like those two specific style of healing is as necessary as it once was. As of right now, Juice God Ike, who I always call Juice God Ike, is in C tier. But this card, with the buffs that have been announced, could potentially be a G tier card the next time we go around and do this, because I have no idea. I mean, the stats that he's going to receive alone is going to rival Choir Boy Butters. Potentially, he could be better than Choir Boy Butters in this theme. And Choir Boy Butters and Hermes Kenny for a while have been the juggernauts of assassin units for a hot minute in this game. I mean, yes, there are assassins arguably better than them, but they've had huge boosts since their epic buffs to where they're highly regarded and very highly used cards in this current meta, and soon a common assassin could join those ranks or overtake one, if not both of them. We'll have to wait and see when those buffs go live. So as of right now, he's in C tier. He's deservingly there, but very soon we could see a much different way of looking at Juice God Ike. And then Archangel Bradley, the newest card added to this theme this year. The weakest Bradley to me right now. Maybe he'll get changed in the future. I think he's relatively balanced. I don't think he's overpowered like some of the other Bradleys are. So that's a positive. But he just doesn't survive very well. He dies very easily. The buff he receives, because there's not a ton of tanks that are really super viable right now in this meta, it doesn't seem like his ability really is that sexy on paper, to actually see visually on screen or during an actual fight. It looks nice on paper, but the end result doesn't seem to be quite as good as it maybe looks. So I think that he still needs a little bit of a tweaking to be more effective. But Bradley's, be cautious when I say that. Don't tweak him too much and make him as ridiculous as some of the other Bradleys, because some of the Bradleys are already the bane of this game, and let's not make all of them that way, please. Thank you. So that's it for Mystical, guys. Let's turn our focus now to Fantasy. Alright guys, looking at Fantasy now, Nymph Nicole has been newly added to this game since I made this last meta, and I think she's an A tier right now. I think she's pretty good. I like the fact that her ability still procs even if all of the swarm units that she uses to get the increase to her health and damage die. Her attack speed is pretty slow, but that's necessary because she could hit like a Mack truck if she's built up well enough in the early stages or throughout the stages of a fight. She's just a very niche card right now, so I can't put her in G tier relatively at this moment, because I think that you can just easily deal with whatever she has to make her the way that she is, and because even with all that extra health and damage, she's still fairly easy to take out. Because she only does single basic attacks, you could swarm against her and kill her relatively easily, so I can't really put her much higher than where she's at, but I do think she's a solid card and a nice addition to the game overall. I have moved up of course, Kylo the Drow Elves from C to B. I think he's in a little bit better spot. Again, no changes have been necessarily done to him, but his shielding, so his charge ability, is very good. It's been kind of bottom of the barrel, but I think with the nerf to Human Kite, I think he actually got a buff to some degree when it comes to that. And I think a lot more people have him to 6. I mean, most people use relatively douchey style deck combinations when they use Kylo the Drow Elves. A Dougie, just to name a few. But he's still got some value there. He could add some survivability to your team comp, and because the theme really strives off of swarm, he can make that swarm a little bit better by being able to potentially use a hanky to increase the amount of times he charges, or something like potentially even Santa as well, and then just be able to hopefully shield a decent amount of times before he dies, and then get that extra value out of him. I have moved Grand Wizard Cartman down. I think Grand Wizard Cartman's not in the best of spots. Again, nothing has been done to him. I just think there's so much to deal with him now that the meta really focuses on getting rid of units that are just big and high energy cost very easily. I feel like a lot of people that run Fantasy right now in this meta run Leanne. Leanne, of course, obviously can be the bane of him and be a positive energy trade for you. Even potentially a huge positive energy trade for you. DSR, I'm sorry, is just from the same theme again, is easily to take out most of his health, make him not as strong, and can just easily help deal with him very quickly. Of course, there's a plethora of instant cancels as well that can easily deal with him. So he's just too easy to be dealt with, and his energy cost is so high that I just don't feel he's an A tier anymore. I mean, yes, if used correctly, he can be devastating, and he's very good in Team Wars, but on main ladder, I just don't see him having the same value that he once has. Unless you pair him with another big tank and run a high energy deck, then I think he's really not ultimately super viable right now in this meta as a lone tank by himself in this meta right now. It just doesn't really work well for me, or at least I just don't think it's as effective as it could be. But I could be wrong there. Some of you may debate that, and that's fine. You can let me know down below how you feel, but I just don't think Grand Wizard Cartman is in the best of spots right now in this meta. So let's look at superheroes real quick and then wrap up the video looking at what I think the best theme is. Alright guys, looking at superheroes here, the only change, didn't make any change to the tier list. I think the tier list is good where it's at. Some would debate that Call Girl should be in G tier. Her value is insane, especially paired with Pope Timmy. Many people have discussed that. Many people are disgusted by me using that combination on occasion, and it is what it is. The value there is insane if that's paired with it. But if you don't run Call Girl with Pope Timmy, her value is still at A to me over a G. But if used with Pope Timmy, she's definitely a G if you're able to use her with that ability. And then of course. Mary Jane Randy has been nerfed since the last time I did a monthly meta. I don't think he's fallen from G tier. I think he's still one of, if not the strongest Randy right now. I think his plants are still really good, and his stats were already way too good when he first came out. I think they're backed a little bit more to reality with the nerf that he's received, but he's still really strong. He's still super viable in all phases of not only ladder. He's plaguing Silver League still. He's really good in Team Wars. He's good in Chaos Mode. He's just a really good card. So I don't think that he deserves to go down right now. If he did, he would only drop to A to me. But I still think he's viable and still worthy of G tier right now. So that's really it for superheroes. Let's look at neutral before we break down the best themes. Just quickly looking at neutral, I did not make any changes to neutral either, I don't believe. Everything pretty much, again, I still think falls in line right now. I don't think the goth kids really are any better, any worse yet. I think they're still early on. Some people have dumped a decent amount of money. There has been potential to dump a good amount of money into goth kids to get them to good levels, but I still think they're still easily killable. And the only really way to truly make them ultimately viable to me is to run them with maybe Cock Magic. So because Cock Magic with Michael on the field won't kill them, so that's really the only way to really truly make them worthwhile to me. And then Classy, I have gold bracketed. Classy, of course, is going to receive a buff finally in this upcoming week. Does that make her much better? We'll have to wait and see. She will get a stun to her enrage is basically the main thing she's getting, and I believe a health buff as well. So that'll be interesting. I think at most it might make her B. I highly doubt it would make her much higher than that, but again, we'll have to wait and see and try it out to find out for sure. As of right now, she's still C tier because she's still really, really bad until this buff comes out, and then we see where she lines after that. But now that we've looked at all the themes, guys, let's quickly talk about what I think the best theme in the game is right now. It feels like I'm beating a dead horse, but again, no changes to the best theme in my opinion in the current meta. Mystical still rules the roost. They are still by far the strongest theme right now in the meta. Fantasy and sci-fi are nipping at the heels with each other. I think that some could debate that sci-fi is better than fantasy, but fantasy has a lot of potential to really be really good. I think that Nymph Nicole was a nice addition to that theme. Doesn't make the theme worse or by any stretch. It definitely makes it a little bit better. But sci-fi is still very top heavy. That's why I don't think it's really overtaken to fantasy. But when Commander Hat is buffed, I think Commander Hat could potentially shoot sci-fi above fantasy to me, because I really think that sci-fi is going to be in a much better spot with that buff to him. That's going to be just not even above. It's more a bug fix to him that's going to really make him truly shine. Superheroes is still to me better than Adventure. Adventure is very top heavy. It's very prominent in high tier ladder because it's it's still a good theme, but it's again very top heavy. If you don't have really the best cards in that theme to good levels, then it's really not really worth anything to you. Because Superheroes is so strong in all phases of PvP right now, I think it's a little bit better than Adventure right now. Neutral, again, still in 6, probably will be in 6 forever until they get something insanely good that really puts it above the rest, which I don't think will ever happen. But there we go, guys. That's what I think for the current meta and where I think it stands right now at the end of first quarter for 2021. As always, let me know down below what you guys think of this, what your opinion is of what I rated this meta. Again, I'm going to be doing this at least 4 times a year going forward. So again, the next time I do this will probably not be till the end of spring, and I will try to do it on time this time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know a lot of you really enjoyed this series, and I do plan to continue it going forward here on the channel. But until then, and until next time, guys, my name is Druzy.